new memoir by the former German Chancellor Angela Merkel is lifting the curtain on her relationships with Donald Trump and Vladimir Putin. The Russian leader was well aware of Merkel's fear of dogs since she was bitten by one in 1995. So Putin brought one with him during a meeting with the German chancellor in 2007. In an excerpt obtained by Politico, Merkel writes this, quote, "I interpreted Putin's facial expressions to mean that he was enjoying the situation. Did he just want to see how a person in distress reacts? Was it a small demonstration of power? I just thought, stay calm, concentrate on the photographers. It will pass." Merkel says she also found her interactions with Donald Trump so challenging that she sought advice from Pope Francis on how to deal with him. In another moment, shared by Politico, she writes, "Trump judged everything from the perspective of the property entrepreneur he had been before politics. For him, all countries were in competition with each other, in which the success of one was the failure of the other. He did not believe that the prosperity of all could be increased through cooperation." Let's go live to London and bring in CNN's Max Foster. Max, good morning to you. Thank you so much for being here. Really fascinating. I mean, Merkel was just such an incredibly powerful figure, of course, for so long on the world stage. And she's pretty candid about what it was like to deal with people like Putin and Donald Trump.
Yeah, and you've got to think that Donald Trump and Angela Merkel had completely different world views. You know, this idea of competition that Donald Trump has, and just the quote that you gave out there is opposite to how she believes. You know, she believes in the European project, countries working together, NATO, and she describes in the book how a lot of those ideas come out of the fact that she was brought up in Eastern Europe, and she saw the European Union and NATO as peace projects. Whereas now she sees them under threat, and Donald Trump is really at the forefront of that. But there was an interesting moment in it where she describes meeting him for the first time officially, and she got really flustered because he refused to shake her hand. And she sort of reprimands herself, and the quote she puts in there, she assumed the US president would be someone completely normal. So it's really interesting to see how they clashed, but how also the insights into his character and why he does what he does.
That's fascinating, I have to say. Maybe she may have been the only one who thought that. Max, I want to show, there's this moment where you can kind of see Angela Merkel react to something that Donald Trump is doing, where he's talking about another world leader as they're all kind of gathered together. This was back in 2019. Let's watch this moment and we'll talk about it.
And honestly, with Trudeau, he's a nice guy. I find him to be a very nice guy. But, you know, the truth is that I called him out on the fact that he's not paying 2%, and I guess he's not very happy about it.
So you could only see her face kind of there at the beginning where he says, well, he's two-faced. He's like insulting Justin Trudeau. It's very clear and there were other moments, you know, over time where you could see the feelings, or it felt like you could see the feelings on her face, like when Bush, you know, rubbed her back. She tries to dispel that as well, but a really kind of interesting window into how she thinks.
Yeah, and she's such a principled character. She was this towering figure. Many people still look up to her as the ultimate sort of liberal figure. And these two clashed against each other, and she had to redefine a lot of her worldviews with the context of someone like Donald Trump in the frame. But I do think the insight she gives is that, you know, we often talk about Donald Trump being a transactional leader. So we think of a negotiation. So he goes into a deal, he gets something out of it, they get something out of it. What she's saying is that actually it's more about winning for him. He doesn't think that both sides can get what they want. You have to be the winning side. And I think that does inform other world leaders currently, because you can go into a conversation with Donald Trump, and in that context, you have to get something out of it, you have to allow him to win. So you think to yourself, I want to get this out of it, focus on that, but he needs to get what he wants out of it as well, and he needs to come out on top. And you do see some of the relationships that are very successful with him working in that way. And when it comes to the, you know, these strong men that he's famous for admiring, he's being tested, and you know, until someone wins, he's going to continue with that relationship. So I do think she gives a good context on him.
Yeah, it's really fascinating. All right, Max Foster for us this morning. Max, always grateful to see you. Thank you for being here.
And to you, Casey.